This is a quick guide to how I create diagrams for my origami books using Adobe Illustrator. It's a very old version, CS3 I think it is, but it has all the features that I want. So the only thing that's different from normal is I've set up some graphic styles, so I can draw a box and I can choose different styles. I can even do a dotted line. I don't know if you can see that, it's a dotted line. I have a few symbols which I use from time to time, mostly arrows and dividing things, turnover symbols, that type of thing. And I have up here my stroke tool for dashed lines, colour, which I don't really use, but I'll get rid of that for the moment. Appearance, I might or might not go into that. Two layers, one for text. I have some preset text I can use later. So let's make a start. I'm going to illustrate a heart that I came up with recently. So we draw a box, graphic styles, and this is the white side, so that's my standard fill. My stroke is 1.5 for page edges. Shift drag to rotate it, and we're going to draw a line just inside the corner to just inside the corner. I'm holding shift to get a vertical line. Make that a valley. Click here, click there, and drag to make a curve, and then I've got some line styles. If you create a shape with arrowheads on and drag it down to the graphic styles, then it retains those, which is nice. This is probably getting a bit big already, so I'm going to just reduce that slightly so the arrowheads are more in proportion with everything. Zoom in a bit. I like my arrowheads to be white on one end to show which end it starts at, and while they've applied arrowheads you can't do that. So I have a shortcut which ungroups those objects, and I select one of them and I use a suitable style to make that hollow arrowhead effect I like. So that's the first step. So select them all, Control G, group them all. That means they all move together. Then we Alt drag to create the second one. Actually, I'm going to need a turnover symbol here, which I have there. A bit large, I'm going to shrink it down and rotate it. I just like to tweak my turnovers a bit. Right, so get rid of the arrow. The crease becomes a thin line, 25 quarter of a point, and I'll then extend that line to the actual corners because that's how I like to do it. So this, because we've turned over, is the coloured side, and now we're going to fold a line, a corner to the middle. So we can, if you want, just click there and click there, just draw a line to give you a guideline, then put your arrow. So we're clicking and dragging, you can make the curve anything you like using these Bezier handles. That's an arrow. So this, actually, to show it's the centre, I'm going to make that a dotted line. Because it's not critical whether you get there or not, but that's good enough. Double click, that's now an object which I can copy and paste if I don't want to drag. Put it over here a little bit. So I'm going to leave that there for a second. So we need to put a valley fold here to take that corner. What am I doing? What am I doing? That's this step. We need the valley fold in there, don't we? We need to know where the centre, the halfway point of this line is, and the sneaky technique I do is to draw a box. Then you can see there's a dot. So I can now do a line starting at the dot to the edge, and this will be on the quarter crease. So I'm just using the dot in the centre of that to find out where halfway is. Some people use the grid. You can switch a grid on. One of these, that one, but I find that some of the time find that kind of annoying. So this is now folding to the centre. I don't like the crease lines touching the edge, so I'm going to bring that in a bit. That leaves a slightly unbalanced line, so I'm just going to change the dash length to 7. There we are, roughly so it fits. Right. Double click, get rid of that one. Alt drag, get rid of the arrowhead, get rid of the dashed line. We now need to show this corner falling into the centre, and I used to create new points and create shapes, and after several years I discovered the knife tool, this one here. Alt Shift, I'm having to check because I do it so automatically. If you get the wrong one, you change the keyboard language. Draw a line through there. That then creates two separate objects. Get rid of the value line which you can't see. Click, Shift, rotate, and place that where it should be. Bring it to the front. This is object arrange. I've set up shortcuts for bring forward, so I can send this back. I can send that back, bring it forward, whatever I like. Reduce that. This one is white, of course. Right. Double click. So this we're going to turn over. So let's drag my turn over. Oops. I'm on the text layer instead. Drag that out. O to reflect and change the angle slightly. Shift to bring it in so it's in proportion. Alt drag. So because I've turned over, this is invisible. Can I shove it to the back? It might be useful later on. Graphic styles, that wants to be white. So now we're going to fill this edge in to the centre as well. So again, I'm going to do my dotted line. We could have pinched the centre, but I don't like seeing little pinches. And it's not necessary when you can judge it for yourself. So I'm using the valley tool, the valley line. I'm going to just guess where the halfway point is. And then I'm going to do my little arrow. Bring it back a little bit. Double click. Oops, zoom out. Alt drag. Get rid of the arrow. Get rid of the dots. Whoops. Control Z is your friend. Now we're going to cut this section off here, so I select it, K, Alt Shift. I think Alt Shift is possibly a shortcut for select your keyboard. And here it should be UK, of course, because we speak the language proper. Double click, select that object, Shift rotate, move it up there, fill it in. I'll probably get rid of that, I don't need it really. Sometimes these objects are useful later on, if not just get rid of them. Those are not quite lined up with each other, so there's a handy thing. If I select them all, there's an align tool and I can align them all on the bottom. So you just put it into place. Marvellous. Alright, I'll just get the paper. Turn over. All like that. And by doing the paper, I've discovered that this is not what you see. You see a white thing on here as well. So I'm going to click, and hold Shift to click to get it at right angles. And I'm kind of guessing now, I'm going left and back to where I started. And that should be white. It's not perfect. but some people are kind of obsessed with drawing them exactly as they are with geometric precision. I'm kind of a bit more about having a bit of feel, so even have it sticking down the bottom a little bit. Select, bring to the front. Right, that's better. So the next step, I only came up with this 5 minutes ago, so my sequence hasn't quite been perfected, and that's clearly not the right angle. If you want to make sure it's at 45 degrees, I click there, shift click, that's where 45 degrees is. So my guess was wrong. I'm just going to bring it over there. That looks a bit better. And now we're going to use the pen tool and the valley. Click just inside the line and just inside the line. I can try my shorter line style. If I change line length to 5, it might just fit in neatly. Yep, that's fine. And we make that crease by following from here. Click and hold, and then drag, and assign the arrowhead to it. The arrowhead's a bit large, so under appearance, double click arrowheads. I'm going to change 100% to 80, and you see it shrinks down nicely. I could have done it in there. I don't know if it'd be better in there. Let me have a look, see. Click, click. Yeah, possibly that's clearer what's going on, so I'll delete the early one. And then we want this duplicated, so I could use a repeat arrow, which I've got here. I could put that over there if I was being really lazy, but I'm just going to copy these two. Click, copy, paste, O to rotate, with shift held down, move it roughly in place, and then kind of fine tune. And I get a bit kind of anal about these, but that doesn't go quite to the end, so I'm just going to tweak that. Right, that's that step. So are they grouped? Some of it's grouped, some of it's not, so I'm going to ungroup it, select it all, and group it. Alt drag, zoom in, get rid of these, get rid of this. Just looking at the paper to see, actually the shape that results is quite straightforward. So what we do is select the white object, and in effect we're going to cut that using the knife tool, or K. If you don't get it right, take it back, let go, and start from a different place. So drag it through. Actually, what am I saying? I don't want to just do that, I want to do the whole thing, so I don't select anything and then do a knife, and then it cuts not only that layer but that layer as well. That one I can get rid of. That one I can make pink, and then use the reflect tool, click on the corner point and then shift reflect, bring that to the front. I've got a valley fold from a while back lying around there, so I'll just get rid of that. And we do the same over here. Don't select anything, K for knife tool, shift, oops, just take it back if it's not in the right place. Shift Alt to get a straight line, get rid of that, fill that, and click on the bottom left, and then shift drag to rotate it, bring it to the front. That just shows how wrong my guess of where a quarter was, because this point should be there. So grab that top line, bring it down, bring that back out, I'm really putting on a fine display here, aren't I? But it's just for kind of rushing it, so down. There's different ways of doing it. So those points all meet at the same place. More or less. By the time you've zoomed out, it's very hard to tell, as you can see. So I think I've got a thicker line there than I ought to have, so that means background layer, which I'm not using, I can get rid of. Whoops. I can get rid of like that. Right, that now matches the paper, and then the final step is to fold the corners in. And you fold them to taste, really. It's good to have a location, but equally you can fold in by eye. So I'm going to do a suggested location, which is on an imaginary dotted line. Then I want to make this crease exactly half that distance, so I'm going to draw the box. There's my centre dot. So if I do it there, get rid of that, change this to a valley, probably a narrow valley. Then I'm reasonably convinced that that is exactly halfway between that point and that point. It's your brain fools you sometimes, where you think a halfway line isn't actually where it is. So now I'm going to just do a little curved arrowhead. It's a bit large, so I go to double click on our arrowheads, make that 90, so it just gets a bit smaller. And then I'll select the other parts of that step, copy, paste, O to reflect, shift drag. I'm kind of going at a brisk pace here, just so you can see the potential. It's not a tutorial as such, it's just kind of showing the way I work. So I want to ungroup that section and select everything and group it. Alt drag, get into the end now. First thing I do is get rid of anything that doesn't appear on the next step. These lines I'm just going to move down out of the way, so that there's a reference, but I can select them to get rid of them when I've finished. So knife tool, I've not chosen anything, so it's going to, sometimes very hard to get that exactly exactly where you want it. There we are. Alt Shift. Now I can get rid of that section. I can get rid of the reference line, and this I can reflect over. And put it in position, bring to the front and fill. Get rid of that. I don't know where that's come from. It's the same again here. Knife tool. Make sure you start the knife exactly where you want it. That's it. Get rid of that. Get rid of that. Select O to reflect. Fill. Drag into position. Get rid of that. Select that, and F8 will bring it to the top. And that is pretty much the model done. That's a single group, so we'll have a rotate symbol, which I've got set up here. Shrink it down a bit. And this is my shape, so I'm going to Alt drag, rotate 90, and then get rid of the various things I don't need. Just that one, that one, that one, that one, and that one. That's now going to be pink, and a bit of the white side is coming down here. So you can draw a triangle, or you can adapt this fairly easily. Select a point, drag it to the centre, use your pen tool and get rid of that point. And there's the white thing. White layer. So I probably want that emphasised as a mountain, so I'm going to nip back here. This is not actually showing any steps apart from turnover, so if I make that a valley and then do a kind of a fold and unfold, so it's kind of reinforcing that centre crease from this side. Ungroup, select one of them, use my narrow white style. So we want to rotate and turn over, don't we? So we'll put that in there somewhere. So we've put that crease in, which means we've now got a slight mountain crease running down the centre of here. And the best way to illustrate that is to add a point, look for the plus, put that in the centre, select that and put the plus and move it to the centre, then select those 2 points, in fact select that one as well, take them down a little just to give it the illusion of 3D, and then put these back on their respective edges. And that kind of little angle makes it look like it's kind of three-dimensional slightly. Then I've got another graphic style here. I can use the gradient tool to add shade wherever I like, really. It's just a bit of sort of subtle shading. You have to keep dragging till you get it right. Make sure it's grouped, it is. Then I zoom out the full screen, and this is where I would start to kind of arrange the layout. So just dragging things around until they have a layout that pleases me. I like them to kind of go round in a snaky form. So we've got plenty of room, we can put these next to each other. Shift, enlarge, put that down there. I don't know, something like that. And then I would go to my layers, open up the text, and just edit the text, put that in wherever I want. It's all just basically trying to streamline the process and do the same thing every time so that you're getting a bit better. There's some notes there. Don't need that. So I'm not messing with the text at the moment. And that's essentially it. You then look and decide, do you want things a bit bigger? I think that turnover could be a bit larger. Right, so that in essence is how I use Illustrator. It's not a tuition, it's not a lesson, it's just a kind of demonstration of what techniques I use. You can find videos on all these individual techniques, but this is a way that works for me, and it's as streamlined a process as I can manage. I've done thousands upon thousands of diagrams, so if a step or a technique saves me just 5-10 seconds, I adopt it, because over time it will save me a lot longer. The next step is to switch it off, come back tomorrow and proofread it, prooffold it, make sure I've not made a mess of it. As I say, I was kind of inventing the folding sequence on the fly, because I came up with this about 20 minutes ago for a book on Valentine's models I'm putting together. So I hope this has proved useful, and I may do it again if there's any demand for it. Bye!